doing, comrade?
Fucking hell. Well, yeah, comrades. I've got a little story that I want to preface our discussion with.
Sure, yeah, I know. I'm in the supporting role. I understand that.
No, just as an entree to the main meal, which is obviously you. Okay, so headline of my story is the world is going fucking mad, right?
Yep.
So I have to deliver some films to Finland, the latest lot of films to go off for processing.
Yes.
And you take them to a little newsagent that is a depot or a station for, you know, taking the delivery, for UPS in this case.
All right.
Right? And so I wear my mask, I go in, he's a perfectly nice guy, telling me kind of horrific stories about the amount of tax that certain parcels have accrued post-Brexit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, more than the actual thing is
Yeah,
worth.
I've heard stories like that too. From
So
people,
utterly mad and utterly crazy. And I just said, yeah, I mean, it's just horrific, isn't it? At this time, when we most need kind of wisdom and maturity and all the rest of it. You know, we've got all of these crises like climate disaster. We landed with Boris Johnson, and he said, I'm sorry, I don't believe in that. And I said, you don't, what?
What he said? He said you didn't believe in. What was it? He didn't believe in.
Right. Turned out what
Boris Johnson did.
No. Well, what he didn't believe in was climate change.
Oh right. Oh, I see.
And so I'm sitting there, and I go through the usual thing in your mind about do I address this, right?
Is this a good good use of my time?
Is this a good use of my time?
Which you will never get back. You know, none of it is refundable. You know that.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't say anything, but inside, of course, my heart sunk, and I just thought. But then afterwards, I thought, what a waste of your talents as an international meteorological expert. That you actually have chosen to work at a corner shop in Brighton when you could be sharing your insights with the team of, let's say, the 80-strong United Nations meteorologists who have laboured for 8 years to produce the current report.
Tell me, did you say this to him before he threw the parcel at you, or after he threw the parcel?
No, but I mean, it's like, I don't believe in gravity. I just thought, well, this is the world that we live in. An utterly fucking mad world in which people are now free to believe in any old bullshit. So, that's my story. And your expulsion, which is the right word?
Expulsion,
expulsion
it's
from the Labour Party fits into the...
Notice of possible auto-expulsion, would you believe, which I have accepted. I mean, I'm not contesting it.
Right. You haven't actually been expelled yet?
Oh yes, I mean, it is an expulsion. You've got 7 days in which to respond. I've been banned from the local branch WhatsApp group, all that sort of stuff. The evidence against me is that in June of this year, I attended a Labour Against the Witch Hunt Zoom conference.
Right.
And there was exhibit A. Exhibit A to Z, the only exhibit, was a screenshot of me with a lot of other notables who were at that Zoom conference meeting. But I do think there's a question of natural justice about being charged with something. You know, even the criminal law says it is not possible to commit a crime if at the time of commission that act was not criminal. You know, you can't retrospectively make actions criminal, and this is in effect what they're doing.
Well, I thought, you know, I can't see what the defence of that is.
Their defence.
Yeah, I can't, because it's true. Well, if it is true that it's, you know, in law, you can't be guilty of something that wasn't illegal at the time if you're doing it. No. Then it's very hard for me to see any, well, common sense grounds, let alone legal grounds, on which you've been banned.
Common sense has got nothing to do with it, but it hasn't had for some time in the Labour Party. Common sense or democratic process or anything like that. I mean, what we have there with this auto-expulsion is fundamentally McCarthyism without even the benefit of an appearance before the Star Chamber. You know, it's ridiculous. So many people have got with a lot, much more experience in the Labour Party have been banned. Some with 30 to 40 years experience have been banned just on the same basis.
I'm really conflicted about this. I mean, I've just received a new Paul Mason book on my Kindle.
Yeah.
The basic position is that there really is a danger of the rise of fascism. And here we have our friends, the dogs. Hello, dogs. And that the only thing that can defeat it, or could have defeated it prior to the Second World War, was an alliance of the left and the centre.
Yeah.
So I'm still a member of the Labour Party, a very unenthusiastic member of the Labour Party, for that reason. But as I said to you in my message, there's a big part of me that really wants to say, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of this. As you know, I've been sticking up for Starmer on pragmatic grounds for a long time.
I know, to my cost.
Yeah, but with not much enthusiasm to start with.
No.
And increasingly less enthusiasm. There's no point in talking, is there, really, because you know what I'm going to say. So I'm still hanging on in there. You remember Starmer made his announcement in response to the EHRC report?
Yes.
And it literally, while he was making it, I think,
you say that you are mine, till the end of time. Come on and let me know. Should I stay or should I go? It's always tease.
There was a lot of back and forth.
What Starmer did is he treated what Corbyn said as if it were the equivalent of Holocaust denial.
Yeah.
That's the trope that's going on there. And now, basically, any suggestion that there was an exaggeration of that evidence is considered by him and by the Labour Party to be anti-Semitic.
And it seems unarguable to me, in a world where, a guy in a corner shop can become an expert on climate change, right?
Yeah.
I.e. where madness reigns.
Yes.
But one of the few sane things you can absolutely say is, for certain, is that Labour's problems with anti-Semitism were exaggerated for political purposes.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's not a scintilla of doubt about
No.
that. Now, what that's not saying, because I was very affected by talking to some Jews,
Yeah.
as we've discussed before, but perhaps not to the internet audience,
Yeah.
who were genuine people, didn't have an axe to grind, and were very upset. And I remember recommending to one that she read Bad News for Labour,
Yes.
because it lays the case out.
Yes.
So,
Can you tell me what they were upset about?
all the stuff that they were reading, and Corbyn. I don't believe for a single second that Corbyn is anti-Semitic, but I also believe that he made several mistakes or oversights, which of course the press seized on and blew up out of all proportion. But I remember having a 20-minute conversation, and
2019.
she was very open to discussion, wasn't closing any discussion down.
Yeah.
Listened patiently to what I had to say, but clearly speaking on behalf of her Jewish friends who had been freaked out by it,
Yeah.
she was still undecided. So when John McDonnell or Angela Rayner or somebody, in the immediate aftermath of Corbyn's Facebook post, said of Corbyn that he didn't. No, it was O'Connell actually, John McDonnell, who said it. That this is about feelings, not about facts, and you can't deny people's feelings, right? And
if they're expressed in good faith, you can.
If they're expressed in good
question
faith.
People's good faith.
No. But I absolutely believed that the woman actually there were two women that I spoke to.
Yeah.
They were genuinely upset, right?
Yeah.
The refusal of the current Labour hierarchy to push back against this misrepresentation, and I mean, their strategy is clearly, right, we are going to be whiter than white, so you can have nothing on us.
They don't intend to push back on it at all. In fact, they are promoting it relentlessly, pointlessly. Well, not pointlessly. They want to basically remove every possibility of anybody like Corbyn ever becoming leader of the party again, ever.
I mean, there's going to come an episode, 2 or 3 episodes down the line,
for our series.
Yeah, a hugely popular series. When you just say, well, welcome home, brother.
To you?
Yes, because I will then say, you're absolutely right about everything, Paddy.
Can I say how I see it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've said about the Star Chamber, McCarthyism without the Star Chamber. I've also said that the party no longer can have any credibility as a democratic institution, because they are not behaving as a democratic institution. They are behaving as an anti-democratic institution. In fact, they are behaving more like a cult than a democratic institution.
When you say, okay, can you give us some chapter and verse on anti-democratic?
Anti-democratic, when proposals on free speech have been considered incompetent, not competent business. When proposals supporting Jeremy Corbyn have been considered non-competent business. Anything to do with anything that might declare some either support for Corbyn or some criticism of Starmer is not competent within the party. Constituency Labour parties have been virtually wiped out on the basis of that. Secretaries, president, chairman, etc., have been removed from their positions. It has got all the feelings of a cult, without the single characteristic which is most common of cults, and that is of a charismatic leader. Now, I feel my role is to rescue you from this cult, and that's why I see the next chapter, where I will be. God say, welcome to the wide world.
Well, no, I tell you what, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like, I'm loyally hanging on because I want to get rid of the Tories and because of the Progressive Alliance. That argument, basically, which I think is a sound argument. Whatever happens, I mean, even if it is a cult, right? And we can play this back, and you said even if it is a cult, right? But even if it is a cult, the Labour Party, in whatever form, has to be part of the opposition to the Tories, just practically. It's not going to disappear overnight. It's not going to be an insignificant player. I want to get rid of the Tories tomorrow. So that's my position.
Can I tell you that I think it is going to become an insignificant player, and I think the people have sensed that, because that is one explanation of why Johnson's ratings are so high, or rather the Conservative Party's ratings are so high, and Labour ratings are so low. When a party like this and a government like this that has, by any possible criteria, has behaved and performed abysmally.
It is actually logically impossible to be an enthusiastic member of the Labour Party now, because nobody has any idea what it stands for. It has no policies on anything, right? Even though Starmer has been leader now for 2 years, right? And even though he promised those 10 pledges to get elected, he's distanced himself from the 10 pledges, which is my argument when I was arguing with people like Manus, right? Saying, no, look, the good stuff is still there. And he's prevaricating and not offering a policy agenda. How can you get enthusiastic about a party that's a shell? There's nothing there. All they've got is Starmer's skills as a lawyer, right? And his persona of reasonable man in a suit who's not an incompetent like these guys. That's it. That's it. That's the offer. Now, I defy anyone of sound mind to get a hard-on about that in any sense. Do you know what I mean? It's the limpest dick of an offer anyone has ever presented to anyone in the history of the human race.
Well, he's running as a Clinton. I mean, Clinton's line was, "I'm not Trump." I think it is ideologically impossible, it seems to me, for anybody who describes themselves as a socialist to be in the Labour Party. Not to be enthusiastic about it, but even to be in it.
I think that's I have to say, I think that's outrageous.
What?
Well, that you're just chucked out of the party and there's no appeal, there's no discussion.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, that's just bad.
Yep. And then you join the likes of Ken Loach.
Yeah, I know.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that.
On that happy note, on that uplifting note.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Well, so there needs to be some music at the end. But should we just talk inconsequential? Oh. Yeah. I'll put the music over this, but I can't go to it. I said I would go to the music.
What is it? That's next weekend after next.
Should I stay or should I go?
Oh, do you know, I prefer to the Shakespeare thing.
Oh, what?
Because I thought it was 7 o'clock. So I know it's 6 o'clock. I don't know if it's 6 o'clock. Maybe we can see which other. Like I was.
Well, why didn't you come with that? Why? I'll pay you. No, you can come along afterwards.